I want to talk about the client journey and talk about what we do as an organisation. So we're an engineering organisation. We've got software guys, electronics guys, mechanical guys, all the various engineers you require to come together to turn an idea into a product. There's a very, very strong process around that, how we actually do that. It's not just a whole lot of engineers sitting in a room coming up with ideas. They actually work very closely as a team. Innovate. So often we get clients coming to us a lot of the time with simply an idea. They have intellectual property, maybe a patent, maybe they're a university researchers come up with an invention, and they're saying to us, you know, we want to turn this into a product now, it works, let's turn it into a product. But of course there's a big difference between something on a university bench and you or me actually using it in our homes or in our offices and so on. So a lot of early stage work is around the innovation, which is who's the end user? If it's a nurse, what does he or she want in the nursing suite? Or if it's someone who reads meters, what do they want? They're driving around their truck looking at meters. Or if they're in the defence industry, it's all about sort of safety and security and keeping our teams safe in the field. What are the important things for that? So a lot of that really early innovation. The next stage we move into is then sort of the design. We turn some of the innovation in terms of what the product might look like, how it needs to perform, the price points, those sort of things. Start to come up with some initial designs. Does it look? How does this look? Is it the right weight? Is it the right colour? Is it obvious enough? Is it intuitive and so on? And so electronics guys do a bit of electronics. The software guys write some test software on the screen. We can see what it looks like and start to bring these things together. The really heavy lifting is the engineering, the regulatory. That's when we actually turn those ideas, some of that early sort of stage prototyping and thinking about it, actually into products. We start to produce circuit boards, we start to write software that we can actually turn on and operate. We start to produce actually the plastic outsides of the boxes or the devices or the things that are going in, and actually start to bring it all together and actually test it out and refine it and so on. And then the fourth part of that process for clients is prototyping. All the circuit boards, the plastics, the mechanical, the thermal design is all brought together in a couple of initial prototypes. Prototypes are actually functional. You can push them around, carry them, turn them on, actually do things, often doing trials on animals and sort of similar sort of things. And finally, once we've sort of gone through a couple of iterations of that, we move into the design for manufacture. And again, it's a big leap between something that works in an engineering office like this and actually volume-based manufacture. Maybe they're moving 10,000, making 10,000 a month. So you need a design so it's as well priced, as easily manufactured, because a lot of the cost of engineering a product, it's not so much the engineering, but it's actually the manufacturing. So a lot of our role is actually getting that manufacturing cost down. Now, what does that mean? That means that we get a lot of headway, a lot of insight into what's coming down the pipeline, because this really robust process, we've got 20-odd projects at the moment, all those projects, all those clients are at various stages of this sort of development. Some are at the early stage innovation, some are at design, some are engineering and regulatory. So we actually have a whole series of additions to revenue from these various projects in the various stages of their development. And that's really good because it gives us really great insight into the future revenues. We might be on stage 1 of a project and we know we've got a couple of $1 million left for stage 2 through to stage 5. Or at stage 3 we know what's happening next and we're looking at the next product. So we've got very clear insight to that revenue flow. What the other important thing is, how do we actually find these clients? We have a dedicated business development team that are actually out there in our 3 core areas. And our core areas, if you remember, are medical technologies, consumer and industrial products, and defence and aerospace. We have people who are dedicated specialists who know those industries here in Australia and here and internationally as well too, looking for business. And they're very adept at talking to clients, teasing out their core problems and actually starting to have a conversation with them really around what those opportunities are. So we have a customer relationship management system that tracks all these opportunities. And we've got about $50 million worth in that pipeline of both new opportunities and follow-on stages of business. And our business development team work with our clients to turn an idea into a qualified opportunity that as the client has money, there's a market for it, it's the time frame we have the expertise, and then actually move it down, actually turn it into a project and actually sort of sell it in each of the stages. Now you may have read from time to time in the ASX we've done announcements around a project we've won. The first stage is $100,000 and so on. That first stage is the innovation. $100,000 is typically that first stage, but the subsequent stages might add millions and millions and millions of dollars to that. But the nature of the business is we contract stage after stage, so that limits our financial risk and our technical risk as well too. So it gives you a bit of a sense of the business. The next thing I want to talk about was actually a couple of the great projects we've worked on. I want to give you a bit of a sense of what we do, and the blue heading there really says it all. We create novel solutions, connected technologies. breakthrough, breakthrough innovations, never before seen products, new knowledge. We actually create that. We work with our clients to create that. The X-ray machine, I think we mentioned last year, the company came to us. They had some intellectual property, some patents around X-rays, a new type of X-ray technology, and they had a little bit of market research and some renderings, some drawings of what they wanted. And they said to Hydrix, "Hey Hydrix, can you bring together the team to turn this idea into an X-ray machine?" So we had electronics guys, software, mechanical, industrial design, thermal. We brought all the various disciplines together and turned that IP into a product that's actually being sold around the world now, being sold through Carestream in the US. In 2 years we did that. For a standing start, we got the point of functional sort of prototypes. And this is a truly disruptive X-ray machine. Most X-ray machines are several hundred kilograms. This one's under 100. So when you're a 49 kilo nurse or something similar in a hospital, imagine trying to push a 500 kilo device. It's incredibly hard. So under 100 kilos, people can push it around the place. Secondly, in Europe, the lifts, the elevators are only rated to about 400 kilograms, so you can't take the competitor devices up an elevator. They're all over 400 kilos. This one you can. So we've made a low-cost device, a low-power device, and a truly innovative device. You actually take the X-ray machine to the patient. The robotic device. Anybody here know someone who had a stroke? I'm sure we all know someone who had a stroke, or someone perhaps is a paraplegic or lost the use of their legs. This device is about that. It helps people who can't walk again. They can wheel their wheelchair up, they pop themselves in, strap themselves into the device, and it walks for them. Think about that, they can walk around the room again, they can walk around the house. Now the main target market is rehabilitation, because as it turns out, if you had a stroke, you need to be able to get neuroplasticity, that is, get the brain working in different ways. All the competitive devices need crutches. And so when you're in rehabilitation, the machines walking for using the crutches, there's a lot less capacity to have that neuroplasticity, the extra pathways in the brain. This is the only device that doesn't require crutches, which means that in rehabilitation, while they're walking, they're throwing balls, for example, or they're looking at things on the wall, and that creates all these new pathways in the brain, actually helps improve their rehabilitation, potentially grow some of those pathways back again. Water management in the middle there. As you probably know, all of you have a house that has water, I'm assuming. Still in 2019, someone drives around in a van, they hop out and they look at the meters in your house, the water meters. And of course, if you've got a dog in the front yard, or they can't get in, they don't look at the water meters, and they get you to do it, so they thing in the mail, or they make the number up. This is 2019, and they write the number down on a piece of paper. So what we've been tasked to do is actually bring metering into the internet age. So we're putting smarts in meters, whereby they're monitoring the flow of water and they're sending that information via the internet back to the water authority. Now, that's good for the water authority, but it's also giving feedback to us about water saving tips. You've left a tap on, it's cheaper to use your water after hours, so making a lot more sort of useful information for the consumer. So that's being in trials at the moment. The other one I want to talk about at the bottom right-hand corner is the mobile jamming system. We're approached by a company that works for the Defence Department, and they wanted a device that, when our soldiers are out in the field, to jam the enemy radio. It's sort of part of modern sort of defence forces. But they had a couple of heavy requirements. They said the device has to be light because it's man-carryable. But of course, it's full of batteries and electronics. The thing is heavy, so how do we get around that? Secondly, it had to be cool, because you can't have a heavy thing, hot thing on someone's back. But it couldn't have any fans. It had to be absolutely silent, of course, when you're out there in the fields. And finally, it had to be lightweight. That is, it had to be thrown out of a helicopter 1.5 meters and land on the ground and not break. And the client themselves couldn't solve it. And they came to us. And at the end of it, we brought together our thermal experts, our mechanical experts, our battery guys, and we solved that. We solved it so well, in fact, the clients quoted, "You broke the laws of physics." It's lightweight, it's cool, it's silent, and it's robust, it doesn't break. And that's what your company, your engineers, the engineers here, 65 engineers, that's the sort of unique, innovative capabilities they bring together. We've got guys from automotive and aviation and water and health and so on. They come together and they solve problems differently. And they're really creating new knowledge and creating new products never before seen.